Am I audible? Good. So you all are here for history optional, and if you have any doubt, we can definitely take those questions after 40 minutes. First 20 minutes I would speak, then my colleague Mr. Praveen Dixit would speak, and then we will take some of the questions. So online people, you're also very much welcome here. And what we are going to talk in the next few minutes is related to very much the syllabus which you have as per UPSC, you know, main history optional. What care you have to take while preparation of this entire exam, particularly optional. The first thing you have to understand that how much optional is important in your selection. That is the first key part which you must keep every time in your preparation. So my own understanding based on all experiences from university and coaching, and in university also, since I was looking actually civil service department. So with all example of my toppers, including ranker 1s to ranker 10, and luckily I have many. So when I saw those boys and girls, those faculty who goes to UPSC, we interact with them, including some former members and chairpersons. What they look in your answers, and we will share that part also shortly. Okay. So first you have to know that which part makes most important difference in the selection of entire civil services. First is optional. You have 4 GS paper put together 1000 marks. This is 500 marks, right? You have essay, how much marks? 200, sorry, 50. And you have interview or personality test, 275. Now, if you just see the marks of candidates who are selected in the last 10 years, except say 20, 30 students, that could be always exceptions, majority in GS would get around 410 to 430. I'm talking selected candidates. You're getting now? That means 40 to 40%, 42%, 43%, something like that. In essay, majority who are selected are in 120 to 135 marks. But the game changers are these two, interview and optional. Huge gap in interview. In half an hour, a candidate gets 98, another candidate gets 210. The entire interview is of half an hour maximum at 35 minutes. So between 25 to 30 minutes. See the gap? And actually both were my student. The person who got 98 and the person who got 210. One student, she got 220. One my student got 206, one got 215. But I have very interesting case that a candidate who got 98 in interview, are you getting note? And she got All India 162 rank also because of her optional. A candidate who got 138 in interview, are you getting note? 138 and in interview. But he was All India third ranker, 2013, Rachit Raj, because of the optional. He scored so well that he could score. Then another my candidate, I told that she got 220, right? Zainab Saeed. She is in Bengal and she is IRS officer, right? She got 107 rank. And that is because her optional paper. She had English literature. You understood this? And she could not score very well, else she would have been topper. Just imagine. And this girl who got 98, Tejaswini Gautam, she's IPS in Rajasthan right now. And in her first interview, she got 98. In second interview, she scored hardly 130s. But then she could not do as well in her optional as she did in the first one, and then rank slipped to 263. So finally, again, she got IPS. What is my point from all these real life experience? That how in each case, whether in raising your bar or it bringing it down, optional was either a hero or villain in both the case. So that is the point which you have to keep in your mind, that the biggest game changer, because interview you would only give when you qualify, and you have to first make you sure that you are in first 12,000 students who would be called on an average, plus minus 2,000 depending upon seat. I hope you know that. And the number of candidates in interview generally are called into 1 is to 2.5, 1 is to 2.4 ratio, and that is all based on some guidelines given by some court, that if suppose there is one seat, then 15 times more students should be called for writing main. So it's almost like 1 is to 15. So 15,000 students generally clear your prelims. You know that 14, 15,000 that you would see. That is because of the guideline. But how much of them would qualify for interview? It's around 2,500 plus minus 200. And how much seat you have? Again, it is around 900 to 1,000 in between. So you saw the ratio, which I said 2.5, 2.4, etc. So first you have to make sure that you have cleared, suppose, your prelims. So I don't think prelims is a big issue for serious candidate. It becomes only issue when you do two mistakes. One, you're not serious. Two, you're not planned. Some serious but not planned. Non-serious, even planned, he would fail. In Vajiram, we expect you all are serious, as we are serious. So you would get all kind of support system from the institute. I'm sure you are getting already classes, material, test series. Believe me, it is more than enough. If we give more, it is like overdose of medicine. So as far as the institute is concerned, teacher is concerned, they are giving more than enough, which is required for IAS aspirant. All you need is to manage your time, to plan. And of course, we understand the year in which you do coaching, that sometime becomes difficult. So next year should be your best. You have enough time also. Okay. So what is my point? That you have to first make your list, your name in the list of top 2,500 candidate, and which part of the entire main is most crucial? Optional. Now, why history is important? Because not only it would help in 250 marks, and so out of 500 you can get 250 plus marks with little efforts, not too much rocket sciencing. You just do basics. Most students, when they write answers, they don't follow the basics. The question was something else, answer was something else, and most of the questions are predictable. Almost 95% question in the main in all subject are predictable. So in history also it is predictable. So what you would learn in the classes, with four of us, each one having different specialization. Myself would take from modern Indian history. My colleague Praveen Dixit would take ancient history. Another my colleague Mr. Rohan Shrivastava would take medieval Indian history, and my another friend Mr. Chandrabhan Singh would take world history. So each one is like paper one, two section A, B, paper one, two, A and B. So I am taking paper 2A. You understood this? Now, what is the advantage of reading history apart from your own optional? That in GS paper 1 you would get some questions. In GS paper 4 you would get questions like Gandhi, Tagore, Gandhi, Nehru, Vivekanand, all the major modern Indian thinkers. Last year they asked question Gandhi and Tagore's on nationalism and education. You can see that 15 marks, right? They can ask Gandhi, Nehru, Gandhi, Ambedkar, Gandhi, other revolutionaries. So these are very much in paper 1 and paper 4. In paper 2, you're going to read constitution. Lot of topic like 1909, 1919, 1935 act, all are in modern India, in the very GS class as well as in optional class. So a student who have read in optional class, GS class, and now writing GS paper 2 would write better than others or not? The making of constitution, as you know, 1946 to 49, it is also part of history, also part of polity. So it is overlapping. So a lot of topic in post-independent, which partly I will tell you in my optional class, partly you would get in GS class. And you have to read land reforms, you have to read reorganization of states, you have to read Panchsheel, you have to read all Nehruvian era of 1947 to 64. And those policies, programs, institutions are still working in 2020. So that means in your GS3, where you have located your economy, your geography, your energy, you understand this? If you have a backup of modern Indian history very well, your current affairs is under control. All you need to continue through the magazines, through the newspapers. So, modern India and current affairs, modern world and current world are in continuation. So, once you studied, say, Second World War, Cold War, and now you are studying globalization, deglobalization, Indo US, China US, all these issues are actually not separate. So, student who has a background of history, she or he would be much better. That's why all serious students of history always score very good in essay, very good in interview, very good in GS paper. I'm not talking non-serious, right? In every subject. So that is what the advantage you can get it while reading history, because no subject in current affairs is without touching history subject or history syllabus. Whether you take it current economy, sorry, you take it current society, you take it current polity, and you take it current international affairs, all has its root in modern Indian history in particular. That is why history should not be taken only for this 500. It should be taken for GS paper 2, GS paper 4, some GS paper 3. One essay at least you can attempt without reading anything from history. Sometimes they direct ask from Gandhi, be the change what you want to see in others. There was a question, Gandhi's concept of Swaraj and Swadhinta. And there would be some issue based essay in which you do not have to necessarily prepare separately for essay. So separately you have to prepare the technique of attending essay, expression, etc. But ideas is what the basis of the essay. From where you get this idea? You can't get the ideas from a spectrum, from material, from YouTube. You have to get those ideas from history, whether in ancient history, Buddha's idea, Mahavira's idea, in medieval time, Guru Nanak idea, Kabir idea, modern time, Vivekanand, Tagore, Gandhi. We had plenty of thinking people, Kautilya Arthashastra idea. They would frame questions from those ideas. And the idea behind framing essay is that one type of essay out of eight would be a global idea. One essay would be Indian idea. I hope you're getting my point or not. So out of eight, at least two, three essay, which is based on our value system, which the Western world may not be very much familiar or recognizing it. But it is our country, so we should be aware about our own value system. So one essay would be from that one. If you have read ancient history, medieval history, modern history, you would know what is capitalism, socialism, communism, nationalism. Are you getting how our secularism is different from European secularism? That you would learn. And the issues like international community, tolerance, migration, immigration. As you know, India is a house of almost all community of the world, because we received people from across the world in ancient time, in medieval time. Am I right? So this would help you to develop a very good thought process. Essay is about that thought process. Many students read some books on essay. It's like they are predicting that that essay would come. That would never come. it would be only like a by chance that you read some quote of Buddha and they ask directly. It's otherwise very, very difficult. But you have to prepare how to think on a particular topic. And that I am sure in history you would get a lot of discussions in our classes, which you can check from our senior friends who are attending our classes. So hope you understood the importance of this one. Some myth has to be bursted. Some of you have a fear of history because of date, because of dynasties, chronology. Am I right? But actually, most of the question is ideas based. Fact 30%, 70% ideas and analysis. That means if your concept is clear, you can easily write with minimum facts. If you bombard facts, you would get very poor marks because they're not checking your memory power, they're checking your understanding power. And some dates only you have to remember, like 1526, first battle of Panipat. If you don't remember it was 20th April, it would not mind at all. That is not important, it is optional paper. 1556, second battle of Panipat. 1761, third battle of Panipat. Tell me the years of first, second, third. 1556, then 15, 56, 17, 61. How many digits you had in each? Four. And you say it's difficult to remember. Four-digit number. But uska mobile number? 10 digit. And you remember. कुछ भाई साहब तो दो दो तीन तीन मोबाइल नंबर याद किए हुए हैं. I'm right? 9810, this. What is the point? If you want to remember something, you remember. When you have yourself told it is difficult, then it becomes difficult. That is my point. But there is a smart way of writing. If you are forgetting it was 1556, don't worry, write it down. In the mid of 16th century, second battle of Panipat took place. Nobody would say it is wrong. Suppose you are forgetting it was 17th October or 16th October, I am not sure. So I would not write 17, I would just write October 1905. I hope you're getting note. If you're not sure October or September, I would not write also. I would write 1905. Suppose you're forgetting it was May or June 1919, don't write, just write summer of 1919, winter of 1942, spring of 1930. Teacher would think, wow, क्या literary बंदा है, उसको क्या मालूम, क्या मजबूरी थी. You get my point. So this is very smart way we will give these out kind of tips. Even best of the best scholars, academicians use these tips when they come on dais. Do you think they remember everything? No, it's humanly not possible. But they do it very smartly without writing wrong facts. So wrong facts you can't write it, but how to hide your shortcomings while writing, while speaking, is very important in IAS exam, because you are writing in flow, and in the flow you have to write something the period. So these are some, what is called in car and scooter is stepney words. You understand this? Stepney एक extra tire होता है, and that you can easily fit in. We will give a lot of such stepneys in the process. Hopefully whatever we discuss is very clear. So my colleague would come shortly, and the myth I have bursted partly he would burst that myth. And then after 20 minutes, I would come again. Okay?
वैसे तो I have not heard what sir taught or talked to you, but 4 parts of history you must have heard, or I'll not repeat it. What I want to convey is whatever we, or especially I talk about myself and we all, whatever we'll teach will come in exam. And that is 100% guarantee. In optional, GS no such guarantee. Generally want to tell you what is difference between GS and optional. According to in my humble approach, what is difference between GS and optional? So GS is more about information. GS is knowledge, simply information here and there. For example, the GS style question coming in Buddhism. They say in Buddhism, GS style question is who will be future Buddha? Any guess? So this question came in 2017, Maitreyi. It may look easy to you. It is easy because it is already discussed. Once it comes to it discussed. Who is the pure land Buddha? Pure land Buddha. Amitabh. Who's the celestial Buddha? You know, entire universe is Buddha. We are living in Buddha. That is Vairochan. How difficult the question. Or a question may be asked, which of the Jatak story tells that Buddha was Ram in his past life? Dashrath Jatak. In which of the story of Buddha 10 types of Brahmans are discussed? Das Brahman Jatak. This is the style of GS. That's why the subject looks impossible. Lagta hai, it looks impossible. How we will know all this? Now let me tell you optional style questions of GS, this history from Buddhism. So how Buddha challenged the Brahmanic dominance on the society? What Buddha or Jain questioned against the Brahmanic dominance? So simple understanding is a Brahman, his son is a shopkeeper and he is fighting against a shopkeeper. Abhi last class I was giving the example, so I remember this. Brahman's son is shopkeeper and both are fighting, both are shopkeepers. Whom as a government officer you should punish more, or both should be equal? Both should be punished equal, or one more, one less? So equal na. Brahmanism is ki he will be left, ki you are a Brahman. Aap Brahman ho, you are Brahman, you go, he will be punished. Buddha and Jain talk about this. This is Brahmanic patriarchy. Just you have this in your mind, give some example. It is all theory based. For example, from Bollywood, if I have to ask a GS style question, Bollywood is a GS style question. The question is, which is the movie of Shah Rukh Khan and Amir Khan? Shah Rukh Khan, Amir Khan ki koi movie? Anyone know any movie of Shah Rukh Khan, Amir Khan? Difficult question. Shah Rukh Khan and Dharmendra. Which movie? बागवान में शाहरुख खान था. बैठो बैठो आराम से बैठो. एनी मूवी ऑफ, क्वेश्चन ही नहीं याद आ रहा है. एनी मूवी ऑफ सलमान खान, आमिर खान? अंदाज अपना अपना ना. This is GS style question. Optional style question is, what is importance of direction in movie making? Or what is the importance of marketing in making a movie hit? These are the optional style questions. No date, no information, no data. Whatever the feeling based, predictable questions. Predictable. And I am saying it so it doesn't look good. You ask whichever student have read, whatever will be taught will come in exam. That's absolute guarantee. The reason is, in GS I never give this guarantee. I never told GS student, that's your luck. The reason is in optional there are some themes, some simple themes, and that themes have to be read. Themes yaad kari jati hai. कि how everything is example, data is example. In modern history also you will see GS style question. They will take name of some leader, which the question setter has heard yesterday. From newspaper he will hear a leader and he will put the name of leader. Whereas the optional style question is ki how the British have brought famines in India. You know the story, you have the story in your heart, you will be easily able to answer. If you don't know the story, you will not be able to answer. Simple thing of GS is, whatever you know, whatever you don't know is based on your feeling. So just my says, and it's a great challenge also, because those who did not read history optional, They think it is 2 times of GS. They think with GS we have to learn this much. How much we will have to learn in optional? So no question of optional is asked like this. There is never a question of optional where you need data. If you have data, you can use an example. You could use it in an example. Just for example, a question was asked a few years ago कि how Puranic literature are written to make Vedic god famous. Vedic gods are Shiv, Vishnu. You go to village, ask a villager, he know more the mantra of Shiv or the stories of Shiv. Stories. We all have heard the story that one day Shiv came, he cut the head of his son Ganesh, so the head of elephant is put. We in our TVs, we watch Puran. We never see the Vedic stories. You will never see Vedic Indra in our TV serial. In our TV serial, the Indra is less powerful, greedy Indra. Whenever a demon gets the power, he first beat up Indra. Whereas Vedic Indra is all powerful Indra. So all of us read the Puranic stories. This is what you have to write, and these are the examples. Commoners take interest in stories. That's why to make Vedic, one example is test match T20 developed to make it popular. Classical music, Bollywood music to make it popular. Buddhism, Mahayana Buddhism developed to make it popular. Ved, to Puran was written to make it popular. From this table, 5 questions came in last 10 years. Itni si table mein se. Ki how Mahayana is to make Buddhism famous among the masses in post-modern age, when the foreigners and tribals are entering, and how Puran were written to make the Vedic literature famous in the post-modern age among the commoners. Know this simple fact, you will be able to write 5 questions of last 10 years, you yourself check. What is Tantrism? You must have heard Tantrism. So what is Tantrism? Tantrism is ki those people who are not interested in the technical details, they do it by the magic. Worship, where I am not interested in the Vedic details, I am interested do it my work. For example, 2 ways to read mathematics. I go to a teacher, he start teaching me ki what is mathematics, what is coordinate, what is algebra. Second teacher, 15 square, add the कुछ होता है वो 2 add है ना, ट्रिक है ना 15 स्क्वायर की. What is the trick? First is 5 का स्क्वायर करके 25 लिख दो. Then 1 plus 1 कुछ करके है 2. 2 to 5 will come. How it comes? None of anyone's business. तब इतना मत समझो. This is tantra. Now please tell me, the one who do this, will he say I am teaching mathematics? He will obviously say I am teaching mathematics. No, he will say I am teaching mathematics. But when you go to the professor of mathematics and you ask, one sir taught me this, you don't worry about square, just do add 5 here, 22 here. So the mathematics professor will say it is mathematics or rubbish. About mathematics professor, what he will say is mathematics or rubbish. So he will say it is rubbish. That's why Vedic literature say Tantra is rubbish. Reject the Tantra. But Tantrism say we are Vedic. This is the simple connection between Ved and Tantra. 3 questions on Tantrism are asked in last 6 years. You check yourself. So these themes are important in optional. In optional, these themes. In optional, it is not how many school of Tantrism or do some Tantrism in class. So in optional, these things are not asked. I just want to convey. Second thing, you will have to read the entire optional in GS. क्या syllabus क्या है इसका? Ancient, modern, medieval, modern, word. Acha, one more thing in GS, art and culture. In optional also this much. I hope whatever I have to convey, I have conveyed. Just don't worry about the enormity of the subject. What acha, second thing, you must have heard about mapping. And some of you must have heard about mapping. So generally, if you ask the past batch students, so I take around 15 to 14 classes of mapping. And I take the mapping till the time students start revolting in class. We will not study mapping. That's my guarantee. When I teach you the map, you will be able to put the mapping. Just say, what is mapping? See how simple the mapping is. Center of movie making, बताओ भाई, मुंबई. Center of software industry in India, कर्नाटका है, बेंगलोर. Center of a protest movement currently going in India, city, Kolkata. Then center of bulldozer in India, Lucknow. Then UPSC hub, good. Best history teacher, Delhi. Then ठीक, समझ गया मैं. Then wait, let me ask some interesting thing. Then कौन सा पूछूं? You ask some. Don't center of biryani. चलो, center of biryani. अच्छा, a new capital for which a lot of funds are devoted is Amaravati. Meaning is your mapping is not poor. You don't know the knowledge about past. Students are fearful of mapping. Mapping is not difficult. You don't know anything. That is difficult. It's not you can't map the city. You don't know about city. आपको city नहीं पता है. That is the problem. Mapping is never a challenge. See, do you think I have put the Lucknow exactly where Lucknow is? यहाँ पे लखनऊ है. Maybe it may be here also. It may be here also. Do you think my Calcutta is exact? My map of India is not exact. ये तो ऐसे जाता है ना यूं. But still you have said Calcutta. You don't worry about such things. The moment you will get the knowledge is so confident and empowering. You will be start telling me without even mapping. Mapping is not needed. Mapping poor means you have poor knowledge of ancient history and medieval history. Mapping doesn't mean you don't know mapping. I don't think you are so dumb you don't know what is mapping. Whenever I ask something, जैसे for example ऐसे पूछता हूँ, an ancient capital, Pataliputra. A medieval capital, ये तक्षशिला. Delhi, that is ancient capital. A big temple site, Tanjore hai. The moment you will get the knowledge, you can't stop yourself from answering that. You can't stop yourself. As if I tell you there is a director who make the movie where all characters are rich, they wear branded clothes, and in those schools of that director, no one study. Apart from study, everything is done. All competition or which here and there, everyone is wearing Gucci t-shirts. Which director? This is all you know. If you have the knowledge of subject, even the vague information and hint will help you to answer. Even the most vague. Which Indian cricketer is a good batsman but eat vada pav a lot? Rohit Sharma. Those who know the cricket, for them it is so obvious. It is the most obvious information. When you don't know, तो no hint can help you. So that's why don't fear mapping. That's why I tell student, fear is not fear. Then मुझे history optional लेना चाहिए क्या? भाई अब ये कैसे बताऊं मैं? This तो obviously, है ना? Obviously, if I am here, so it's a conflict of interest. I tell you, I am just here. I was told, I was briefed, that there are some doubts about history optional. Remove those doubts. What you have to take, so that you will have to decide. If I didn't, ठीक है. And the mapping there. And next thing is sources. Student also say how to quote sources. Any one of you have read GS from me? कोई GS का student है ना? तो you must have made seen कि I make sure if I write administration of Mauryan history, I make sure that I write the sources. Our administration we have read according to Arthashastra of Kautilya, and municipal administration according to Indica of Megasthenes. So whenever you talk, there should be sources. जैसे for example, if you ask me how good Prime Minister of India is, and I have to criticize, but then criticism में है ना, बीजेपी supporters may get hurt. So how I will criticize? I will say according to, then I'll take name of some channel or some YouTuber. If I have to praise, then opposite India alliance may get hurt, their supporters. So again, I will take the name of some channel, some YouTuber. So always remember, even if we have to praise or we have to criticize or whatever we have to say, I don't know anything. Sources are to be quoted. And that's how the most literate person speak. The most literate person always quote the sources. If I say, according to you, what is the solution of Indian economy? So you will write your view or standard view? Standard view. According to me, to burn all the cities, let's return back to jungle. Let's live again peacefully in the forest. But I can't write it in answer. My view means standard view. Someone is saying, sir, I am in dilemma between taking history and public administration, but I am interested in both. What is your opinion? How can I have an opinion on public administration? If I would have a good opinion on public administration, I would have taken it. भाई I would have taken it ना. ठीक है सर, मुझे समझ नहीं आ रहा. क्या नहीं समझ आ रहा? ऑप्शनल लूं, तो ऑप्शनल लेने ही समझ आ रहा. ठीक है, तो नहीं, I hope, देखो, it's obviously I am standing here and I teach history optional. What answer you expect from me? What answer you expect from me? But imagine I am BJP supporter. And you, sir, I am from M16 batch. I found somehow tricky, hard by looking books. What sources to follow? देखो, in my syllabus, my part of optional, if you ask the past year, the students who have, whatever I give you notes. The reason is books are so many and so confusing. If you have to read books, what is my purpose? That's why if you will see optional notes, so in ancient I give them around 300 to 400 pages of notes. Just read them. I don't want you to follow some fake confidence. That's why I tell my students, wherever you find any question, anywhere, any place, just try answering it. That will give you more confidence. Past year, to generally teacher teach past year in their notes. So that also give a fake confidence. Is a Maitreyi answer you know not because it is famous, because it already came. When it came, so it becomes famous. That's why I solve the questions. Whatever I give, I take 100%. कोई सब्जेक्ट में इंटरेस्ट नहीं है, ये भी ठीक है, ये तो बेस्ट है. कोई सब्जेक्ट में इंटरेस्ट ही नहीं है. चलो, we will discuss that later. तो हाँ, तो वैसे तो there are books. Every book have limitations. Is you must have heard the name of Upinder Singh, a book Upinder Singh. The great limitation is first 300 pages are prehistory. Prehistory, which do not come in UPSC exam. That do not come. Second thing, Upinder Singh is good in economic history. She cannot write about cultural history, Buddhism, Jainism, what are the philosophy, Vedic philosophy. Every book has a drawback. That's what the work of teacher is. If you are reading from me and then you have to read the books. So read books for your confidence. Read the books for your interest if you have any. Otherwise, what I tell, what I teach will be asked in exam as it is. 100% guarantee hai. In GS, no such guarantee. GS is like a riot. Truck will be open and you are asked to run in the city, save yourself. Optional is a boxing match. Proper match, proper rules, proper training, proper guideline. Generally, optionals are more organically designed. That's why you will see some people oppose कि second optional should be returned. Earlier, I hope you know that there were two optionals. People say कि optional subject is more academic in nature rather than general studies. General studies just lose information here and there. I teach history as GS also. And many of you must have seen that I don't teach it very academically. I can't. Already takes a lot of time. I teach them कि ठीक बात है. You should be able to understand as a novice. But in optional, we study for the academicness of it and for the fun of it. Every optional, I hope, is enlightening. Obviously, history also. I am just saying less information. Optional GS is information based subject. ठीक है. हाँ भाई. Anything, I think, एक सर को बुला लें, तारिक सर को. तो any doubts if you have to. If you have any doubts, ask to me. So you may ask otherwise. So it is very vast subject. Yes, history is a vast subject, but let me tell you, the challenge of subject is width. In other subject, it is not dynamic. It has theories and less information to remember. सवाल किसी का हो तो if you have any question to ask me or sir, तो you may ask.
Thank you. Yes, any question you have? Online people, offline people? I have studied both history and political science. Can you just scroll this? Okay. My background is ancient history, so history optional helps me. Great. Can you just take it from upside first? Right from the
शुरू से
beginning.
शुरू करें.
How
शुरू से
many-
शुरू करो भाई.
How
एकदम
many
ऊपर.
months should be given to prepare history as optional subject? We generally complete in 5 months, sometime plus minus 20 days. That is, I hope, is quite acceptable. But on your own, how much time? That of course depends upon your speed, your sincerity, right?
In history optional, which faculty teach? Sir teach modern history. I teach ancient history. Rohan sir teach medieval history. And Chandrabhan sir teach world history.
Okay. रुक जाओ. In Vajiram and Ravi, history faculty is best. Thank you very much. क्या बात है? I was a student of history optional last year, but I could not clear the prelims 2024. But उसका history से कोई ताल्लुक नहीं था, right? So my doubt is I missed around 10 lectures in all branches of history. Should I take course again? No need to take course again. This is sinful act. Okay, you just can take missed lecture, those who have missed, and if you have any doubt, you can meet me and faculties, right?
ठीक बात है. And you come and all the time will be given to you.
Yes.
There is no concept of ex-student. Ex-student जैसा कोई concept नहीं है. Student is a student, either this year or last year or last to last. Don't think yourself as ex-student. Some student says I was an ex-student.
One candidate, Rahul, is asking, he is in dilemma whether history or public art because he has interest in both. My God.
Sir, he is born 15 years late. He should be born in age of 2 optionals.
No, I would still bat for history because I told few minutes back of its diversity. Public art, I taught sometime Indian administration, is little rukha sukha. You understand this? History में अनारकली भी तो है.
Anarkali, sir, if you know history, you can at least win all the debates on Twitter, Facebook, WhatsApp, tea stall. Right or wrong? You may be wrong also, but you will win the debate. सर मुझे समझ नहीं आ रहा क्या ऑप्शनल लूं.
यार इतनी देर से हम लोग यही मेहनत कर रहे थे.
भाई अब ये तो.
Okay, so you can meet personally also me or Praveen sahab that which optional. If some of you have still dilemma whether offline or online, make sure you decide as early as possible because as I told that this decision is very crucial. Optional is going to be one of the most important key part of your selection. Okay.
ऑप्शनल क्या लूं?
That's the same point.
Sir, he should consult a good astrologer also.
जब हम लोग थोड़े उम्र दराज हो जाएंगे तो ये तो करें.
Okay. मैं तो शुरू भी कर रहा हूं.
Was subject how many time? You know, all subjects actually from outside may look it bigger or smaller. Other than literature, the size of subject is by and large same. What happens inside when you go? There would be subset. Now subset you don't know even in anthropology that how many time of question they can frame in a different way. So UPSC has made a very good balance. So the size of the syllabus should not worry you. And in each subject there are certain portion which you can ignore also without actually taking any big risk. That of course each of us would also tell.
And sir, one thing, you have to come in the top 5 of your subject, top 5% or 1%. So if it is difficult for everyone, easy for everyone. And subjects width is a problem, so their dynamic is problem. I have seen no subject optional will make your life easy. Every subject will make your life equally difficult, or you could say equally easy. And it's like, well, jump in it, whichever you want. Sir, I have studied both history and political science in my graduation, and I am 50-50 sure between
तो टॉस
which
कर लो.
which one. Three, best of three.
हाँ.
3 बार toss. हाँ जी. Art and culture is a part of history subject. Art and culture is part of
It's not a
subject.
separate subject.
And जैसे for example, I generally give this example कि after air conditioning, ceilings came down. It's a art form. Ceilings came down. So for this you have to understand artificial cooling, air conditioning. You roam in the market, Karol Bagh mein roam, look at the houses. You can predict the decade of each house by looking at it. So basis of technology, toughened glass became cheaper. So in balconies we have toughened glasses. Tomorrow if we bring hydrogen cars, so hydrogen cars exhaust will drop water. So all our road will have the water channels on the side. You need to know the history, you will understand art and culture. If you don't have the feeling for art and culture, means you don't know the history. And earlier, when mathematics and architecture was not developed, majority of architecture was rock cut. Later, when we developed the mathematics, mortar came. In medieval India, mortar came, so arches and domes appeared. So you need to know the technology. You will understand entire of art and culture. In GS, I hope some of you must have read art and culture, so it's organic topic. हाँ जी.
World history importance. You know, they have given two part, paper 1, paper 2, in each A and B. So you are free to choose one extra question from any of the section. You have to do 2 questions in any case, from ancient, 2 from medieval. But the 5th question you can choose on your own, whether ancient or medieval. Similarly, in paper 2, the 5th question you can choose from modern history or world history. Generally, I suggest in ancient and medieval, you take 3 questions from ancient, 2 from medieval. That is my view. He has his own view. You may have your own view. Similarly, in paper 2, generally I suggest you prepare 3 from modern history and 2 from world history. And my logic is that since you are going to prepare for GS also in modern history, you're getting not? So you would have advantage. And in ancient case, my logic is that ancient syllabus is little relatively less than medieval, and ancient is less controversial than medieval. There are a lot of debate already. Entire medieval history is in debate. So why should I go into that debate? I should get good marks. And some of the question like edict, some of the questions like administration or economic history of any part, ancient, medieval, modern, it would fetch you better marks. The places where you have little debate, historians are themselves divided, so you have less chance. So that is why questions on architecture, sculpture, painting, economic history, it's almost like a statistics or mathematics. One can score 8 out of 10. But suppose there is a political debate on partition of India and what were the causes. No matter how best you write, there would be equally opposite, very good view available, which you can't write it. So these are some smart ways that if you, in the beginning itself, you prepare and you say that, okay, I'm going to do 3 from modern, 3 from ancient. So what you would do, you can ignore many of the topics of world history as well as medieval without taking what I said risk. Right?
वैसे तो weightage is 125 marks each. है ना? So 125, 125, 125.
Karan is asking, sir, would you give different quotes of important famous personalities? Not at all. This is not required. This our uncle and auntie are sending every morning quotes of Vivekananda, Bhagavad Gita, and holy books, etc. Quotes are only important when it is related to an issue. Suppose Bal Gangadhar Tilak said in 1903 that India is a nation in making. This quote and then comment, because the debate is that India is still a nation in making. In GS, I told that some people like Ramchandra Guha said that 2/3 Indians have accepted the idea of India because our nation is like ever evolving. Same is true about democracy also. So those type of questions, of course, we will discuss through some famous quotes of some famous people of different phases, ancient, medieval, modern. This is more in modern history and some in world history, right? can
What
take
is the
this.
difference between graduation history and UP? Sir, ये तो you answer.
Graduation history I taught in university and PG also is pure academic. And here the debate, here the scholars, you have to know history through historians. Here you don't have to know what Bipan Chandra said, what Romila Thapar said, what. And I checked many copies recently as well as in last few years. A student quote without knowing whether that person was from medieval or not. Are you getting not?
ठीक है.
And quoting Dienja in medieval and Irfan Habib in ancient. And they think that the teacher would not know. They know it very well. So, you don't have to quote these people at all. That is not required. So, academic is purely different than UPSC. UPSC is more applied, something which is going to be relevant in administration. Their entire question, in fact, their GS question of main paper is more dynamic than even their optional paper. You remember the question, Gandhi's relevance in 21st century. Both Gandhi and Ambedkar wanted to uplift Dalit. Their approaches were different.
Sir, in modern one's question is asked if there would have been no Gandhi,
Yes, had there
what would
been
have happened?
the freedom struggle of India could have been somewhat different had there been no Gandhi, which was actually role of Gandhi, because there were differences in class, caste, community, and Gandhi was right in the middle and trying to strike a balance, which was almost like I often quote jokingly that Gandhi toward the end became Pitama Bhishma, trying to balance Jinnah and Congress, Ambedkar and upper caste, and his heart was with the weaker, his body was with the stronger. That exactly was with Pitama Bhishma. His heart was with Pandavas, body was with
Duryodhan.
Kauravas, Duryodhan, etc. And what happened lastly? Pitama Bhishma was died brutally, so was Gandhi. Are you getting or not? So this is very interesting that this is analogy just for you people to understand it. Don't write Gandhi like Pitama Bhishma. Okay?
Magar, then because then Arjun will become Godse.
Okay, I'm confused option and क्या लूँ यार वो
Sure.
जितने confused वाले एक दिन आ जाओ, right? And we will discuss, because here we can't solve those confused part. Wait. I'm really confused between sociology, PubAd, and history. I would suggest first remove PubAd. Now sociology and history. And you know, one very important point before you finally nail down is your interest. In which subject you can create, or internally there is maximum interest, go for that one. Forget every other factor. If you have great passion, interest in that subject, you can read at 2 a.m. also. You can read in train also. But if you do not have, and just for the civil services, because it may give you good marks, that is the wrong idea. I hope you're getting. So
Sir,
finally, you have to choose.
it's like which business I should do to become billionaire. Every business in India have billionaires. Every business in India have kangal. Every optional have toppers. Every optional have failures. And history optional is respectable, never persecuted. That's a separate thing I should not discuss. Key students don't read it. They read it from the perspective of GS, can't write the answer. So that's why. हाँ sir. I know my talking and answer writing method is more of historic way. Congratulations for that. Good.
Wait. They ask maximum question are repeated. I told you history question or optional question are very much predictable. The entire body of any subject is limited. GS body, why sir a few minutes back said, is very unpredictable, because it is ongoing. By the time you prepare about RBI would have announced something new. By the time you talk Indo-China relation, something might have happened very recently. So GS becomes very dynamic, because every day, every month, some big events are taking place. And that's why GS would force you to update, and you can't forget what happened earlier also, because there is a connection. Suppose you're talking climate change. So you have to start right from Earth Summit 1980s till Montreal to Kyoto to current Paris, etc. And of course, something would happen in recent past also. So this is what the GS part. But in all optional, it is fixed, static. And that is what the point is, that some subjects like history, which is more static than say economics and sociology. Even in optional sociology, they may add some recent thing. But in history, by and large, 1960s is their deadline, and beyond 60s is not written by most historians because history takes time to get original documents from National Archives of India as well as various sources. So first it would be introduced in PhD level, then MPhil, then MA, then graduation, and then in UPSC. So that is the entire order. So it would be 15 years from here onwards when Manmohan Singh period would be in the syllabus, in history syllabus. But
There is a
already
site
Nehru.
called Senoli, not important for optional. It is important for current affairs. Where Senoli is, what is Bagpat.
There's a question on mapping you can talk about.
I think I have told you mapping 50 marks and you will score 45. That's my guy. I think just now I have talked about mapping. Haan ji. Actually, humanities subjects don't need background. Humanities subject don't need background.
And first you see the statistic in Missouri. 65% students right now are engineers. And what subjects they have opted? All subjects. Political science, sociology, history, forget this. Literature they have taken it. Good advantage thing of engineer is that they know to resolve an issue, at least in many engineering colleges. Your IQ, your presence of mind would help any subject which you read it. So forget your technicalities. Only thing is that you have to learn some new vocabularies, some technical terms like what is nationalism, what is socialism, what is communism, what is communalism, and how communism is different from socialism. It's a thin line that you would learn in class itself. And I'm sure once you read the next 6 7 months, you would, because you have sharp engineers, doctors are sharper in India because they were toppers in schools, college. Don't forget, they were the best student. By default, the best student in India generally goes to where? Science. Second best commerce, third best arts, except few like me. Okay, don't mind. Otherwise,
I
right?
want to say, I don't know I should say this. I am a computer science engineer.
And
I did MA later, abhi just recently, just so that if someone asks you what's your background, so I should have at least history MA ki bhai I am also literate. Otherwise,
no, but there are a lot of people in this IAS exam because I introduce many professors for history optional who are university professors and they failed. UPSC exam is different. Here the application according to almost 90% faculty.
abhi one student comes to me, sir, who has 138 rank history optional. So he is engineer only.
And most faculty also from different background. The point is how much work he has or she had done in that subject to become a faculty. For the student, how much IQ you are using and grasping the topic as quickly as possible, right? And since you engineers, doctors are already better students in your school days, college days, you would pick faster than most of the humanities background. At least in Indian subcontinent, that's the trend, and that's why the advantage you have, right?
Sir, one thing to I say ki I have not read history in my school college. That's why the interest remains with me. Whichever subject I have read in school college, interest disappeared. So you are in advantage. You are still interested in the subject. A student who have done graduation is fed up of subject.
Shivan is asking when can we meet. You can come after checking our schedule, but generally between 10 to 11 you can find some faculty. 1:30 to 2:30 you can find some faculty. This is the break which we can meet, right?
300 marks is ideal score in optional paper. Can I score 300 in history? You can do a lot of things. Can you tell average score of history optional aspirants? Average, so the best and the worst are so far apart. The average of every subject is same, 150 to 200.
The moment you score 240 plus in any option, you are in safe zone. The moment you score 260 plus, because I told you GS would be hovering around same to most of the candidates, right? 280 plus, you're sure getting IS, provided you just do basics in other GS, essay, interview, etc. Right? So, and getting in any subject 240 to 80 requires certain disciplining. And no subject is very tough, no subject is very easy. This is all created by some people, or sometime you only take interviews of few toppers, but you don't forget 1 to 100, all subjects are represented. 1 to 20 also, almost all major subjects are
And sir,
represented.
I think UPSC ensure it by scaling.
They do scaling, and still there is a problem in scaling, and there is a big debate in UPSC itself, because the subjects like mathematics and history cannot be equated, but they have this scaling that somebody who's getting 70% and in history 50%, both be brought 60%. This is how something they do internally, but they never told in public, so we cannot talk what exactly they do it. This is some unofficial thing, right?
Same time. ये तो टाइम टेबल प्रॉब्लम है, we will discuss it. And you have to, but what I feel is, if you have to dedicatedly study them, so in 1 week, 4 days GS and 3 days dedicated optional. If you think your brain create chaos, if you are unable to manage, then if you are doing good, to do good. I'm not asking anyone to change, but if you think it is too chaotic, so 4 days GS, 3 days optional. It will give your mind a sense of calmness. Okay, entire day, 3 days I'll study GS, optional, 4 days GS. It will reduce your turbulence of subjects. So that is one advice. Other thing to meet after class file.
Having background in history and GS, will history optional classes help? There are overlapping parts in GS and history optional. Sometime in GS you have to go more for prelims also, right? Which in optional there is no prelims. And in optional there would be some topic more discussion time, like you have to read drain of wealth theory also. In GS, who gave drain of wealth theory, which is a book and which is an article? That's enough, few points. So that would be the advantage, of course. Once you have taken history in prelims, out of 20 question of GS, you can score 16, 17. And that you can have edge over others, because others would struggle from ancient and modern history, or even questions on architecture, on literature, etc. Since you have gone through long phases, so any major subject you have taken, history, geography, constitution, politics, you would have advantage over others. That is why many students choose one of these, because this may help. But that is not actually the first condition. I told you the first condition should be your interest. If you have interest, you can always overcome any other shortcome, right?
Can we have an edge in history answer? Because the answer in the history are static, whereas in political science the answers need a new terms because of new.
Okay, yeah, I got it. This is a myth. Subject, first of all, I told when static, its syllabus is static. History or any subject, political science, sociology, is always evolving. New researches, new interpretations are coming. Now, at your level, whether optional history or political science, you have to use some vocabulary, some terms, right? Now, one great advantage in subjects like history is that after 5, 6 months, your intellectual level would be much higher than what it is now. That is for sure. And that is because a lot of discussions you would get it which happen among the top guns of past. When Buddha was questioning Brahmanical dominance, on what basis he was questioning? When Buddha was so popular in Mauryan period, post-Mauryan period, but why he is not in India? Why we have forgotten Buddha? Why on Buddhist Purnima also we don't remember? Most people do not know that today is Buddha Purnima. Do you know in which month Buddha Purnima comes? Which month? And you don't know. That generally comes in May. Am I right? It's a gazetted holiday. And Buddha, in my personal opinion, and I have no doubt I have discussed with some professors on this, greatest ever ambassador India had at global level. Since last 2000 years, tell me one Indian who was popular so much, from China to Japan to Korea to
Entire
Tibet
China follow him.
to all these Southeast Asian countries. But why we have forgotten? A question you would learn. in ancient time, in medieval time. So what would happen? Your thinking level would be very high. Why nationalism was questioned by Tagore, who was initially himself writing Jan Ganman, Amar Shonar Bangla, but why he developed cold feet with nationalism, and why nationalism is becoming big hype in the world. This would raise your bar, and when with that intellect you would write your GS essay interview, your answer would be better or not. That is why those students who score good in history, they also score good in GS, essay, and interview. That is because your intellectual level is high. So obviously, it is going to be reflected in all spheres, including your writing skill. I hope you got my point. Okay, Mayur, you are having a history optional in your DU. That's good. But some approach you have to change here, because here you have to start with the basic facts, with the basic questions, as I told, to optional paper. So it's not going to be of too much difference if somebody has taken or not in graduation. As I told you, the success rate of engineers are higher than the success rate of humanities students, because it's all depend how quickly you grasp it. You understood this? So whether you have studied in graduation or you did not study, that you forget it. What you're going to do from here till next 1 year, that is going to make all the difference. And sometimes reading something about past is problematic also. In many colleges in India, when you read something about history, maybe the interpretation was wrong. So first you have to remove that. And those like engineers and doctors, they never read it, and they are getting first time. So they would be quick to accept it. But the first who have already read and read wrong, they would struggle which one is correct, and in that there would be confusion. So that happens in many cases. That is why when I started teaching, I realized it is much easier to teach somebody who never studied history. Very difficult to those who studied and studied wrongly. It's almost like कि किसी old
ठीक है।
खंडर building में एक नई इमारत बनाने के लिए you have to demolish the खंडर first and then you have to construct a building. But if you get a free piece land, it is easier. I hope you're getting now. But don't worry, I know some of these students in Delhi, at least some colleges and universities are good, but I cannot guarantee about all parts of India. This is unfortunate, yet true. Right or wrong? Yes, please. Here you just have to know different schools, just to know. That's it. They won't ask about nationalist, subaltern, and colonial interpretation. But that's what I said, it's not academic exam. They would not ask A directly about historiography. B, they don't even want you that you have read Ranjit Guha to be subaltern. You have read, Sumit Sarkar to be leftist. That is not the purpose here. What is the syllabus? You read it, syllabus, what UPSC has said it in notification. Graduation. Are you getting my point or not? Not post-graduation. The level is graduation. But the problem is that in many states of India, graduation level itself is different. So in most Delhi's universities, the level of graduation is as good as in many other states PG level. And if you go abroad, the PG level of India is as good as graduation level in Harvard or Oxford or in Sydney or other. So that is because we have very uneven, standard of schools, colleges, etc. But at least in school, they have NCRT syllabus common in most, so they can have a uniformity. But in university, there are books which students read here, and other state even teachers never read it. That is one big problem in many universities in India. And since you all are writing same UPSC exam, and that is what advantage of getting some guidance from some teachers who are matching UPSC standard, right? Book list, we don't give too much books. In fact, if you have 10 books, donate 9, read 1 10 times.
और सेल
Are you getting not?
इफ यू डोंट वांट टू डोनेट भाई
अच्छा सेल वाला ये ज्यादा सुन लिया होगा
हाँ
है ना?
सर सेल So duration of class तो 2.5 hours officially, but then teachers wish to extend 5:50 to 8 ना sir this
बट
time.
राहुल शायद ये कह रहा है कि इतना देर तो मैं ओटीटी प्रोग्राम भी नहीं देखता हूँ,
नहीं तो
राइट?
वो तो don't worry. Sir,
Okay.
अभी class 5:30 to 8 am.
5:30 to
5:30 to 8
yes.
this time also.
And I hope you won't get bored in that 2.5 hours. That is for sure. Yes. I mean, you're talking about reading or writing? No. First is during reading, right? Second is during writing. During reading, the most important part is that select your material very carefully. Don't read just because your friend, somebody said, you don't even know the topper's entire life. I know many my own students who are topper and they lie completely in public. The first lie they is that they never took coaching from that institution and yet they advertise. Right or wrong? I don't want to name, but I know it. So how can you trust such person? Second, it's an Indian trend that once you become public celebrity, you
बस
glorify your
बस बस
past.
सर बस
You
बस
glorify अरे मैं कहाँ बस लैंप में पढ़ता था, मैं तो ऐसे चलते चलते पढ़ ले, बस ये स्पेक्ट्रम पढ़ लो हो जाएगा. He also might have read it, but not because I know it personally. यार उसने मुझसे किताब लेके पढ़ा था और वो बाद में कह रहा है कि सिर्फ स्पेक्ट्रम. Sometimes some publishers also promote, are you getting not? And they tell कि ये वाला बोल देना. And lastly, most people say the best part of their life in interview because now they are celebrity. They would not tell the worst part. So never, as I told you, if you scan last 10 year toppers, there would be 10 different things they would talk. So you can learn something from topper. What you can learn? How they manage time, how they overcame from stress. Are you getting note? From lows. These are some traits you can learn from toppers. But what I should read in economy? Ask economics teacher, ask polity teacher, ask geography teacher. He can tell better that. And most of the IS faculty would never tell you to read this book, unlike in college and universities. And in college also,
very obviously optional will be of any help in prelims.
I
obviously.
told, there are few subjects like history, geography, polity, and one more, economics. If you have optional, it would help immensely in GS paper, in prelims. If you have read history optional properly, all four, out of 20, as I told, you can score 16, 17 with confidence because in prelims, you have gone through much details in optional other than the GS candidate. So obviously, suppose you are talking about Dadabhai Nauroji and drain of wealth. We will take 1 hour class only on that drain of wealth. GS people would just have 1 minute class on drain of wealth. Are you getting not? 1 minute and 1 hour. How can you miss that kind of questions? And that is true about many parts of ancient history or medieval history. So whichever these 3, 4 options if you have taken, that question from that subject, you would have advantage.
I am a geology graduate. History is hard for me. How to tackle history? By reading it. Reading means properly reading with interest.
No, hard is all perception. I believe that mathematics and history in our school days were made tougher by our teachers. Mathematics tougher, history boring. And whichever good teacher came in our early days of life, we started loving that subject. So if you get good teachers at any stage of life, you would start loving that subject and remove all this myth that this economics is tough, this ancient is tough, this physics is tough. For any average IQ people, all subjects are equally good. But point is that you got good book or good teacher, either of the two or both, and then you would start enjoying that book, right?
And entire Twitter is full of history. It is so interesting that people fight and discuss on history only. Every problem of present, every discussion ends up in history. अभी Hindi versus Kannada debate. So we just now I was checking Twitter. So वो Kannada people we have made this. So Hindi people you have made this. So all is from history.
And Tamil would say we are the oldest in
बता दो
India.
hatred basis of hatred is history. And basis of love, तो obviously the history.
And
So-
my own understanding is that when I talk to some people outside classroom, whether friends or others, I live more in present and future tense. Most people live in past tense. Are you getting not? Most Muslims live in 7th century AD. Most Hindu lives in Gupta period or
Yes, sir,
Vedic
Vedic age,
period.
Vedic age.
Vedic Gupta or Rana Pratap age or Shivaji age. Are you getting or not? And I teach history, I read history, but outside I only talk what is current, IPL match, cinema, or any other thing. And as sir rightly said, that most people on social media are talking what? History. They're not actually history. They are actually talking something which emerged from history, and they think that they know about history. I hope you're getting. So that's again a misconception. But once you read history, as sir rightly said, you can debate on public much better than anyone else because you have sense, nuances of historical discussions, which would help a lot later on, the true academic discussions of history, right? Yes.
How an history optional student is at benefit from other? You are asking academically. If you are asking, so obviously I can answer academically. Non-academically, so the moment you start losing a debate, start throwing history, a person will run away. Believe me, that's how I can guarantee. The moment you start losing a debate, history will help you win it. And I want to be an IPS officer. ठीक है, that's also.
And not only history, but also speak in English. Are you getting or not? You know, these are two things. And if you use some jargon words, are you getting or not? Nationalism,
Yeah.
idealism, communalism, socialism. But of course, this, in my opinion, is unethical also.
How diverse are readings for history optional? Not diverse. Diverse के 4 parts. Just simple books, notes, class notes, enough. Entire of it is in GS. If it is vast, so in GS entire syllabus is. If history syllabus is vast, someone is asking name of years and kings. Not at all. Less information is needed in optional than GS. Because in GS, the events are asked, in optional, story is asked. You need to have the feel for a story. What British exactly did with your country. Not which British did what. How exactly British drained you. In GS, they ask what Dalhousie or what is Thomas Munro or Hector. Here, they will ask you what's the story. What role Gandhi played, rather than exactly tell me where Gandhi went. In GS, so they will ask you some leader, you will not even make head and tail of it.
Even they ask in GS, the ship from which Gandhi came from South Africa, what was the name?
And what similarities it had with Titanic. नहीं, joking.
तो पीरियड लगभग वही था.
हाँ, पीरियड सर वही था ना.
तो गांधी शायद टाइटैनिक पकड़ने वाले थे.
बस बच गए. आज no, standard thing. Don't balance. Write all.
You know, historians के आइडियोलॉजी आप समझ भी नहीं पाओगे क्योंकि वो दूसरे लेवल पे चलता है. वो जो इसमें हिस्ट्री में हिस्ट्री है, but one is interpretation. So history is important for you, not interpretation. The different interpretations would always be there because different minds are writing, and those people are writing in different phases. If somebody is writing about Gandhi 1950, his mind is different from somebody who's writing Gandhi in 2024. That is the first point. Second, in 1950, that historian may not have that tools and that evidence which the modern historians may have. So interpretation, perception, outlook would change. So that keep changing in history. But in UPSC, this is not needed actually. So do not worry about that different schools and historians, etc. Otherwise, they would ask question like that. This is more in PG level. Even in honors in most Indian university, they don't ask like that.
But we will discuss. In class, unofficially, we will discuss just for the interest.
Yeah, in some cases, like the theories regarding Harappan decline, the theories regarding Mughals decline, and there are different scholars who have given different view, which we will discuss in the class itself, that those theories, but only related to few theories.
Yes, in GS, anyone remember Pushyamitra Shung Twai show? Ki Pushyamitra Shung was Ram, or Tirupati was Buddhist shrine. So I have shown some unofficial photo, and I ask you never to discuss it. And I don't tell you I taught you that. But we will discuss it unofficially for the fun. So you should have interest. That's only. You need not to write them, just for the fun of it. Sir, I have a lot of interest in history, but I fear it because of current trend of. I don't think trend of Marx
There is
something.
nothing trend. The first thing you have to remember, this is very important in psychology and history. What is your sample size? Out of 1,000 candidates who get selected every year, how many of you know personally more than 10?
Direct 5.
I remember since I told you in university, so every year 30, 35 would be selected and then plus coaching, so another 40 to put together at T every year. But that too because I was teaching in many places. You're getting now. But somebody like you read interview of few candidates. Total selection 1,000. So how can you generalize based on 10 people which happen to 1,000 different people? So the moment your sample size is small and you're basing your knowledge on that small sample size, it is dangerous.
अच्छा करो ऐसा do one thing अभी sir when mains I think mains is around the corner 10 or 12 days later the day optional paper of mains takes place just do one thing go to the exam center of mains and check the list so in PubEd PSIR sociology you will see 7 halls are filled in history you will see 1 hall is filled in literature if you are good at literature take it you have a good chance to succeed only because of less competition. If you are good in Maithili literature, na, take it. Because Maithili literature has so less sample size, you have much better chance. It's like I want to become a football player. And in Brazil, I have heard many football players. But I should opt India. In India, at the same level of football, I can come in international team. But in Brazil, with the same level of football player, I can't even play club football. If I want to become a cricketer, you must have seen many cricketers like Unmukt Chand. They left India and play for other countries. So if competition is so much, you are seeing Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, and you think in India cricketers have a good future. It's not that. Out of 1 million, you are seeing. So you go to a mains exam center and check just the list. It is open for everyone. It is outside the exam hall. You need not to enter the building. Just check how many students are for PubEd, how many for PSIR, how many for sociology, how many for anthropology, and how many for history, and how many for other subjects. So you yourself will understand what is the sample size and what you are comparing. Now that's called survivor bias. When you see so many things, so you think only this happens. So that is the competition also. In prelims point of view, to ask current affairs history question, not a lot, but yes, some are asked here and there. Historiography is just for your interest. No one will ask you directly. Ab Gandhiji was a good person or bad. People even debate this on internet. And people debate na Gandhiji was good or bad. Ab that is also historiography. You need not to ask. No one will ask you Gandhiji was good or bad. And to Nehru about Prime Minister Nehru, so much debate. No one will ask you these things. You have to read a simple, interesting form of history.
Sorry, can you repeat question? In interview. So it won't affect at all. First, the board members do not know your written marks as per the rule. You get my point or not? The board members would not ask from UPSC controller of examination how much you score. You understood this? And no members know. This is a rule. Second, as you know, interview marks is added in your total marks. You understand this or not? So the final list would be made out of the total marks you got it from written interview, then the list is prepared. So as I gave example, my candidate got 98. You remember this? And and she got 162 rank. IPS, that girl I told, Tejaswani Gautam. And then I gave another example. He was top 3 ranker, 138 All India topper. Because in optional he was very good. In optional he was topper. In GS he was topper. But in interview 138. And there are example I told who got 2 plus, 200 plus, could not get IAS. So that is because all marks are added, written and interview. and then merit list is prepared. So do not worry at all about the two different things.
So answer, what are the scopes of history if she takes in future? Matlab, if he wants
Future
to,
means what?
he wants to do masters from history and asking for what are the
No, no. When
prospects.
you do masters are generally done for academic purpose. If you are going for higher education, PhD, academics, then you do master. When I did it, I knew I'm going for university. I'm going to teach, and luckily I started teaching IAS right from the beginning, so I was in both. But most people would do PG for what? Academics. If you don't interest in university, then don't do PG. In fact, in many corporates, PG is a disqualification. Oh, he's overstudied. He would not work. So graduation is a benchmark for most of the job. And IAS, UPSC also has given syllabus and basic qualification. But you should be graduate in any Indian university, any subject, right?
हाँ जी.
One candidate is saying Tejaswini Gautam is our district SP in Bikaner. Last time when I talked, she was in Alwar. So I hope she would not mind that I displayed her name, 98 marks. But many of them enjoy
No, no,
that
but that's a
they are,
bigger quality, sir. That's a bigger achievement
yeah.
because interview is not that certain as mains is. Interview to liking also. हाँ जी. I don't think so.
But who would make this judgment?
I don't know.
Why would they do that? They themselves has allowed you legally. These 35 subjects are legal. How can they themselves make difference?
And
Are you
second
getting
thing,
my point or not?
and second thing, let me tell you, if you have taken the famous ones, so they understand that you came to Rajendra Nagar, you took a coaching, and you only want to become IAS. But if you have taken some history optional, mathematics, it means you have love for the subject. Those who
No,
take subject from market, sir.
sorry to actually interrupt, but actually they would not mind at all. That is for sure, as far as which optional, which college, which university, which course you did it. You cleared the prelims, you cleared the mains, now you are a legal candidate for IAS. So they would ask based on your DAF, which you filled yourself. First 5 minutes would be based on DAF in general. Chairman would start. Then it is open session. The question would be based on what is going on in India and world, and on the board members' interest also. And sometimes when you answer, based on your answer also, they derive some questions of next level, next round, etc. So this is what, because their purpose is actually not to punish you for your past. If somebody got very less mark, 40% in graduation, they may ask, just tell honestly, sir उस वक्त पढ़ने में मन ही नहीं लगता था. But if you say, sir मेरी दादी मर गई थी, so I could not write, then they would say, okay, he is escaping from reality. Be honest, you would be rewarded.
And after 40%, if you are in interview, so you will have his sympathy also. You have to work, you have worked hard, you have changed your life, and we all love life changing stories. The entire Bollywood is running. You also say, sir, I have take the oath,
लेकिन
इंतकाम देखे.
सिंपैथी पे एक चीज याद आई मुझे, जो इंटरव्यू में नॉर्मली क्या होता है कि एक तो वो फ्रेंडली होते हैं, अनलाइक यू हैव अ परसेप्शन क्या होगा, दे आर वेरी फ्रेंडली, दे वुड मेक यू वेरी कंफर्टेबल, पानी भी रखा होता है, आर यू गेटिंग नॉट, एंड दे वुड स्टार्ट विथ चिट चैट, जस्ट कैजुअल, और कैसे हो, कहाँ से आ रहे हो, बस में भीड़ तो नहीं थी, ऑटो वाले ने चीट तो नहीं किया, 2-3 बार तुमने आंसर दिया, तुम्हें लगा 3 सवाल का जवाब दे दिया, वो सवाल नहीं था, it was just to make you comfortable. They do give some advantage to a candidate who comes from poor background, who come from marginalized section, especially geographically, who is very much located, say Ladakh, say in dense forest of Jharkhand, say somebody who lost unfortunately father or mother at young age. What is the science behind it? That she or he came after a lot of struggle to this room. Are you getting my point? So they would start judging you from that point of view. Somebody who's studying, who lived in metros, having very good parenting, studied in good schools, they would grill them because you got all the opportunity of life and you could not justify the benefits you got it. So sometimes your good background is a curse, but that is not a curse or blessing. I'm just telling you their method of judging, and but you have to justify that you got, you know, better parenting, better schools, better colleges, and you are above the crowd. So both are having their own advantages.
And we all do this. We all do this. Every human have sympathy.
Which type of history question to ask in interview, fact based
Interview
or
for
others? Sometimes they ask fact. One of my candidate, Shruti Sharma, she got 173 marks in interview. In history optional, she got 306. Right now, we took mock here also in this very sorry, that very building in the basement. Basement का नाम नहीं लेना चाहिए. Sorry. So the point is this, that when we had mock interview, we found her very good, and since she was our student, so I knew okay, in writing also she was good. But two or three questions they asked. One question she told me about 1812. They asked what happened, and she could not answer that one. You know, not answering a factual question is not never a problem. But what happens sometimes? Two factual questions you could not answer, right? In the third question, your confidence goes down. That is why sometimes some factual, but most of the time they would ask conceptual question from your subject, not factual question. It happens very rare. Otherwise, we predicted she would get around 190 plus.
Sir, one of my friend could not answer Bhudan movement. Bhudan, Vinoba Bhave. And
What
he got
happened? It happened.
190 around. He got 190, can't answer Bhudan. I'll not say this, but it's also how you manage yourself after not answering. You answer a good question and look at the interview and
Yeah.
give a winning smile, gone. But you can't answer and you humbly nod and you try to learn. So then,
And you know, it is human. Sometimes you become blank, complete blank. But as sir rightly said, how you handle after that one. Like one way is that you politely say, "Sir, I'm forgetting. Sir, I don't recall right now. Please excuse me." Something like that. But bluffing or telling lie or trying to something which you don't know, that is sinful act, right? So I just told, don't worry about interview. History would definitely help you to get additional 15 marks in interview than other subject. That I know it because all my students who had history background in interview they did very well. Minimum was Shruti Sharma 173, but she did history so much that she topped 306. You know that? Okay. Tell me any other.
please tell the books. There are a lot of books. And I'll not suggest a student to.
Yes.
Upinder Singh first 300 pages are about prehistory, not even asked in UPSC. And the student gets so much harassed by these books, then his entire sense of the subject disappears. First, you have to have medieval, early medieval age. There is no book of early medieval age. You just have to have some good understanding about it, interest in it.
You have to read few topics as per the syllabus, the questions which is possible. We will, as I told, dictate also, explain also, and each of us got some written material. You just have to write, practice as much as possible. You're getting on? Because questions would be very basics. It is not like of PG level, it is of undergrads level. Okay?
I
Any
think
other?
questions online are done. Any of you want to ask? Or
All subjects are good, all subjects are bad. Students are good or bad.
now you check the number of marks.
Are
First
you
thing,
getting my point or not?
first there is
It's not
conflict of
subject.
interest if you are feeling. So you check the marks on online. So you will find the average marks.
No, that is because of a GS paper 2 when it started in 2013. Second, in India, there is what is called भेड़ चाल. सबने लिया तो हमने लिया. आप इसको ऐसे देखा करो, which very few people would know. Out of 100 students who opted political science, how many have cleared this exam? 8. Out of 100 students who have cleared from history, 8. Are you getting my point or not? Most subjects, except 2, whose success rate is higher than all other subjects. In all other subjects, there are 2 type of extremes: very high, very low. Majority, like history, political science, sociology, your anthropology, etc., it comes between, the success rate is out of 100, 7 to 9%. I took 8, the mean one. This is based on UPSC last 20 years. We had done this homework. Me and one former secretary of UPSC, Mr. Sanjay Srivastava, one former secretary, Government of India, Mr. M.F. Farooqi, they were all IAS. And we had to do this because we had to tell this to students based on data. 2 subjects where out of 100, 20 students or 22 pass. That is highest in medical science. Are you getting note? 100 doctors sits, 20 to 22 would pass it. Second highest is law graduate. If 100 law graduates sits, 16 to 17 pass. But the problem is you can neither take law nor you can take medicine. Who takes medicine? All doctors. Who takes laws? Who have done LLB. But I know many doctors who have taken history, who have taken political science, sociology. I have not seen any person who is an engineer and taken medicine paper, or who has done something in graduation and taken law, because law is a very complicated subject and very much detailed subject, though it is very dynamic, very good. But a student who has done law, that too very good college. Why in India engineers are not taking civil engineering, mechanical engineering, and this
Chemical.
not chemical is not in UPSC. Only 3 engineering: civil, electronic, and mechanical. Are you getting not? Electrical, not electronic. Civil, electrical, and mechanical. Only these 3, not computers, not electronics, etc. What my question is, why the engineers who have done civil engineering not taking engineering paper? Because in college they did not do well. Because in college, unfortunately, they were not told. Only some good IITians, NIITians, they take it civil engineering, or some of them switch to math, or some of them switch to physics, because the subject is very close.
And they prepare for IES also and they get the benefit.
Not necessarily, some of them do, but what I know that in most engineering colleges, I'm sure you would agree what I said it, कि उसने 3 साल 4 साल इंजीनियरिंग में जो उसने पढ़ा सिविल इंजीनियरिंग, उसको इंजीनियरिंग ठीक से नहीं पढ़ाया गया. That is, I told, a problem in Indian colleges and university. Like history honors करके आ गया और उसको ढंग से history नहीं मालूम. That is one reason why coaching institutes can fill the gap between what you did not study and what we offer. And second is, even those who studied in very good, like JNU, like some DU, etc., they also come here. Why so? Because that is very academic. And what is very interesting, since I am in touch with many such families, a professor of history department in Delhi University, his daughter is in Vajiram, and she also did graduation in history. Is that interesting? From top college of Delhi called Miranda House, LSR, Stephen College, Hindu College, Ramjas College, Hansraj College, is a and Venkateshwar College, and JNU. These are top college and university. I'm talking history student. हमारे यहाँ पिछले बैच में लगभग इन तमाम कॉलेज के होंगे थे. हमने पर्सनली बात किया पहले दिन में मुलाकात में, पूछ रहे थे कहाँ से आए.
In that tragedy, one student of JNU passed away. He was in that tragedy.
Yes, you're right.
So he was coming from that campus to a basement to study. It tells a lot about colleges and I'll leave it. Work culture.
Okay, I think this is okay. Yes, please.
There is a difference between for GS.
Yes. Yes. Optional, as I told, is according to analytical part. It is more conceptual part. GS is totally different. They would link with the current events in current world, like I told, Gandhi's relevance in 21st century, right? Some part of GS, like something located in ancient and medieval, they would ask directly. But from modern world and modern India, something which happened related to that one, they may ask. So the approach would be slightly different. Yes.
Chalo, I hope if there is some more questions.
So we'll see you shortly. And we are starting on 6th of October. instead of 27th of September due to some administrative reasons here and some of the scheduling of the class, faculty, etc. So that is the announcement I have to make it. Online people also, that is 6th of October, and you would get the schedule shortly. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Take care. Thank you. Bye bye.